Oh, as we're setting up, let me grab a hanky. Okay.
Hi everyone, Claudette here with my amazing, great, super duper, woohoo girlfriend, Sharona. Hi Sharona!
Hi. Hi, Claudette. Hi, everybody. Yay. Here we are for another episode of Conversations That Matter Most. Woo!
Yay! And so welcome. I'm glad that you're here today. And we're going to be talking about motivation, which is something that sometimes, I don't know about you, but I know sometimes I need to be motivated. I need that kick in the butt or whatever you want to call it to be motivated. So we're going to talk about this today. We're going to look at different things around motivation. And just in case this is the first time you are on one of our this is the first time you're joining our episode, thank you for being here. We're super happy, super excited. Yay. And if you've been to our episodes before, thank you for coming back. Woohoo! We really appreciate it. And just in case you're wondering, I have a little bit of a sore throat, so I'm just going to be popping some lozenges in my mouth once in a while. And, I don't have a pink tongue. Okay, I'm good. And then, yeah, I was checking, seeing if I had a pink tongue. See? And just also a few things we want to share before we get started is that our episodes are never scripted, and so we pick a topic on different things that are of interest to us that we feel would be of interest to you, and that may just spark that extra conversation or that boost to have that conversation with people in your life. There are times that, we're talking about mundane things, but Sharona and I love to talk about deeper things. And that's how we started. We started by having a conversation about things that were going on in our lives, and we felt we wanted to share it with everybody. And so, just so you know, the purpose of our episodes are to spark conversation, to help you think maybe a little deeper or maybe a little bit more on the right side or the left side or whatever side you happen to be on. And just to, have a conversation to see what happens. So it's the purpose isn't for you to agree, disagree, or to say this is right or wrong. It's to have a conversation. Anything else you want to add, Sharona, before we start?
No, I think you covered it quite well, Claudette. So yeah, this is about just I like to call these stepping stones to go deeper into conversation, because a lot of if look on our YouTube channel, Conversations That Matter Most, and we've been doing this over a year now. So we got all kinds of topics up there, from dealing with stress and anger and emotional wisdom, and procrastination and setting healthy boundaries. So there's a lot to look at and review. So, something in your life might say, you know what, I really need to find something to help me. How do I set some healthy boundaries? We have a extensive library. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of great topics. So today we want to talk about motivation. And I know there are times that I need, as I said in the beginning, that kick in the butt, especially today where I am. It's raining, it's gray, it's drizzly. So those are the type of days where you feel like, I don't even want to get up. I don't feel like doing anything. Yet, you have deadlines. Now, it's one thing to say, I'm going to take the time off to take care of myself, to do what I need to do in order to feel better, like when you have a cold or you're coughing, and that's totally different. But what if this is something like you needed to do? An example is doing your taxes. How many times do we wait at the last minute to do our taxes? Now, it's different than procrastination because you're procrastinating in the last minute. And that's part of one of the problems with staying motivated. But the bigger picture of being motivated, I believe, is why would you do what you're planning on doing? So what are your thoughts on this, Shona?
Well, and that's a good point because I like that idea that what's the reason behind doing whatever you're going to be doing next, because I think a lot of times and I think procrastination and motivation somehow go together. Because a lot of time, I know when I have to do something that I don't feel passionate about or good about, I know I put it off and put it off. And I realized that how do I get myself into in a motivated state if I don't feel that I am going to enjoy it. So I want to go, going back to taxes, it's the same thing. I have to look at how do I make I know I have to do this. I know I need to get it done. So the question I ask myself, how can I do this in a way that is creative for me? And I come up with all kinds of, ways to do financial things. Finances is not like a strength of mine. My brain doesn't work in numbers or linear ways. So that's the question I ask myself. How can I know I have to get this done. How do I make it fun and creative for me?
Yeah, I like that you mentioned how to make it fun. And I want to go a little deeper in that. Why would you do it? And I understand the concept and make it fun, but why do you want to do it? So that, let's say, like we were talking about taxes, there's a reason we're doing it other than making it fun. I mean, if you don't pay your taxes, there's going to be penalties at the end. So let's take something else. If, for example, taking care of our health, right? How can I be motivated in taking care of my health? Well, why would I want to be motivated in taking care of my health? Well, if you're not motivated, if you're not healthy, you're gonna die young. That's bottom line. You're gonna die young, and if you don't die young, then you're gonna be sick. And what quality of life are you gonna have? So I know for me, that motivates me in trying to stay healthy. Now that doesn't mean I'm gonna exercise. All right, I haven't found that piece to be motivated enough to exercise, but I do eat healthy. And I know, Sharona, you exercise every day, which is like, wow. I'm in awe of you for doing that. But see, so there has to be some kind of benefit, right? An intrinsic benefit for doing whatever we're doing. And that's what keeps us motivated.
Yeah, and I think also part of that too is, as you were talking, is I think it also we have to look at what works for us and how do we, because what motivates you is going to be different than what motivates me.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, the reason I love doing exercise. For me, that helps me. The reason I do it is not for health, but but that's the results of it. But for me, it helps me what I call ground into the day. It's the way I start the day. I get my blood flowing. It helps me get out of my head because I got to focus on the count and the reps and all that. So for me, it's almost like a meditation. And I know that for me, that's what I need to get my day going. And I've been doing that all my life. So yes, there are days though I might not feel well, or I might have a slight injury. I might something. So I will continue to do the exercise because the motivation is to ground myself in the day, but I'll modify. And I think one of the things is that as I'm listening to this is, as we are figuring out what works for us and why, and the reason we're doing something and what motivates us and how we motivate ourselves, is to realize that we're not always going to be like gung-ho, but how do we maneuver and navigate through those moments when we're going, oh crap, I got to do this now. How do we get that, stoke that fire to keep us going forward, even when we inside feel like crap?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I think that's great. You know, a lot of times when we start a new project, right? I know I'm like that. When you start a new project, you're excited because of the newness of the activity, whether it's like a project you're doing, even in relationships, that honeymoon period, the dating period, or even a new job, whatever it is, that new period is what keeps us motivated, because it's excitement, right? There's excitement, there's like newness, there's adventure, there's like something different. So that keeps us going. But then after that newness goes away and it starts getting hard, because let's face it, everything at one point or another gets harder in our lives. It can't always be, woohoo, this is nice, this is fun. There's going to be a period where you're going to hit a wall, you're going to hit some obstacles, and you have to find a way to go over those obstacles, around those obstacles, or through that obstacle. Right? And so
right.
What is that motivation to help you get through this? And I believe that if you hit that wall, the reason why that's on the other side of your wall here, this is what's keeping you to go through it, to move around it, over, or through it. Right?
Yeah, right. And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, as I work with midlife women, dancing with change, one of the things is the motivation for a lot of things have changed. And because we're in a new part of our lives. So the reason why we're going to go through, under, around to get to the other side might change. I also think that one of the things is, and you know, and this might be true, I think, for stepmoms too, because they're in a, right? Because
there's a lot of
I think there's a lot of change, and yes, and I, you know, the newness of it, of being in a new family and this excitement, but all of a sudden in daily life, how do we keep going forward? And I think one of the things is knowing the reason it's important. And I think this is just, as you were talking about it, it's like, how do I practice hitting the wall and getting over the obstacle?
Yeah.
You know, what strategies can I have in place to make that work? And I recently I had to do something that was scary to me, and I realized a lot of times, even though I know the reason behind it, the fear is stronger than moving forward. Yeah. So what I do then is chunk it down just a little bit into smaller bite size or smaller steps, so that way I can deal with the fear or the uncertainty. And then I can say, okay, I still need to get this done, but I'm going to do it just in smaller steps. And I think that, because again, a lot of times when we take something on, it just feels too much.
Yeah.
And for most women, be it, you know, a midlife woman or a stepmom, we're doing so much for everybody that sometimes we forget that we need to find ways to deal with our emotional well-being, our physical well-being, and our spiritual well-being, and how do I stay on track when all this other stuff is flying at me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's true.
And that fear comes up,
The fear and the overwhelm, right? Trying to do too much for everybody else and then forgetting ourselves. And the other thing that I'm thinking of is the unknown. Like, I don't know how to do this, right? At the beginning, right, when you're doing something new, when you're being in a new relationship, you're starting a new career, whatever it is, the newness is like the excitement, the adrenaline that keeps you moving. But then all of a sudden you realize, like, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Like, what's next? What's going to happen? So sometimes the fear of the unknown, of like the next steps, or not knowing what to do, like not understanding what is it I'm supposed to be doing here, will stop us from moving forward and hold us back, because we feel alone. We are unsure of ourselves, so we are questioning our ability to be able to do it. So we're lacking in confidence all of a sudden in something we're doing. And then we're thinking, like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. This is I'm way over my head, right? And so that lack of confidence, that lack of knowledge, that lack of support will sometimes hold us back from moving forward and continue to motivate us to move forward.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, Claudette, because I think one of the things is, again, for most of us as women, we somehow think that we have to do everything by ourselves. And I think finding a little village, a tribe, an ensemble, whatever you want to call it, your peeps, I think is a good idea, is something that we need to do for each other. I just saw something on some show, and they were talking about new moms. And the woman on the show was saying, when she had children, there was no social media. There was, she said it was the most isolating thing she has ever experienced. But they have an app now for new moms. And I wonder if this would work for, new stepmoms too, where you get to find like-minded moms to get together, have play dates for yourself. So I think one of the things in our society, when we, as women, we have the village, we had people to help us through it. And I think in our culture, we're very isolated. So one of the things is I really do think we need a support network to help us through that. And I know us working together, Claudette, for this length of time, one of the things we have become is you're one of my accountability buddy. So when I'm feeling that I don't have the skills or the knowledge, and I'm doubting myself from here to eternity, and I think nothing I'm doing is good enough, and blah 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 blah, you help me get back to, wait, hold on there. Who's talking right now? That's bull crappy poo-poo. And so we help each other help each other through those moments of, I don't feel motivated, I feel scared, I don't have enough knowledge. And I think that's really important to remember, that we don't have to do this alone. And yes, we have to be motivated to get whatever needs to be getting done, but we also can rely on support. There's a few people that have our backs when we're feeling that we just can't take one more step.
Yeah, and as you're sharing this, Sharona, like about support groups, your tribe peeps, I'm thinking back in corporate, in businesses, they have what they call masterminds or leadership groups or leadership, where these CEOs or these head of corporates get together maybe a few times a year to talk about their struggles as CEOs. I think we have this picture of these people, whether they're men and women or women, who are like head of these corporations, and we think they have it all together. The reality is they need to have people around them as well to keep motivated. Can you imagine like that kind of work? So if you're thinking of high level performers and look at their life, they're not alone. They stay motivated because they have other people around them. You can call them mastermind, leadership programs, incentives, whatever you want to call it, support groups, circles. No one's alone in order to move forward. That's how you stay motivated. You find people that will, as you said, Sharona, help you stay accountable. And I know that having been with you for this long, knowing that when we talk, you have my back and you'll kick my butt when they need it. And you'll call on the BS that I'm throwing around there and say, no way, this thing, what are you talking about, right? And so those are things that help us stay motivated. A few things I want to mention that helps us stay motivated is also to look at your past successes. And I know I shared this with you earlier this week, right? Writing down your past successes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is one of the biggest motivators, at least for myself. And if you don't mind, I want to share this story about a coaching client I had really early in my coaching practice. This lady was blind. She grew. It was a degenerative disease of the eye, and so she progressively grew blind. But she was able to cook. Funny enough, she had taught herself to cook. And one of her biggest dreams was to run a marathon. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how can you run a marathon? You're blind, right? This is what's going on in my head. So I asked her this question: have you ever done something similar to that in the past? Oh, she said, oh yeah, I've done some short walks with other groups. And I said, you have? Explain to me how you did this. So she says, there's a rope around my waist and it's tied to another person. When we have a t-shirt that says blind person ahead. And she said, I did, it was like 3 kilometers. She lives in Australia. And so I said, wow, you did that? How did you do it? She says, well, we walked a little bit every day, and so my guide helped me. And I said, so what's stopping you from doing a marathon? She said, I don't know. I hadn't thought of it. She said, I figured because I was blind, I wouldn't be able to do a marathon. So I said to her, well, just think of your marathon as a series of these little mini walks you did. 3 years later, she sent me a photo that she had done her first marathon. She just needed the reason why, and to see that she had done something similar in the past that motivated her to do what she wanted most.
Yeah.
So for me, when I remember that story, I keep thinking, if this person can run a marathon, I can definitely get up and do myself. I just need to have that strong reason, the why, and to look at what I've done in the past in order to tell myself, yeah, you can do this. You just need to have a strong enough reason for it. and you'll do it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is first of all, that was a very powerful story. Thank you, because and that's a good example of how we sometimes get tunnel vision, and we're thinking, "Oh, I can't possibly do this," and to have someone remind them that we can do it is awesome. And that, so because you know what, human beings have this wonderful computer system in their brain, and it's miraculous. But boy, all the data in there, somehow it gets all mushy, and we tell ourselves stuff that is really not uh, uh, healthy for our being. And I know, for me, I have a real toxic village in my head. It's just going on constantly about all kinds of crap. So to have someone again on the outside to say, wait, what did you do? Have you done something similar? Gets the brain thinking, oh, let me look in the database and let me see oh, wait, we used to, So I think that was a great story. And it demonstrates that, again, knowing the reason why, and then asking somebody, having someone ask that question will trigger something in us to say, wait a minute, if I did this once before, I can do it again. And it's the same thing when I'm working with midlife women who are going through a big career change. And it may have been a while before they had to do interviews and write a resume. But the thing is, you've done it before. We're just going to have to retweak it and revamp it and package it a little differently. But it's still the same thing we did. And we may have to change it a little bit to demonstrate, your experience and your wisdom. And I think a lot of times as women, as we get older, we don't think we have anything to offer because, it may not have been acknowledged, or we've been maybe doing the same work for years and years, and we're going, well, I have nothing. I don't know how to do anything except this thing. And it takes the practice of asking that question, have I done something similar to this before, and how do I bring that forward? Yeah. So, yeah, great idea. So those are questions you can, have your accountability buddies to ask you as, somebody as you're going forward in time.
And I just want to add, because, sometimes stepmoms have no experience whatsoever as being a stepmom, right? As being a parent. And so they may say, well, I have no prior knowledge in being a step-parent, in being a stepmom. And where I will help them think and move forward is, if you've ever had a job, if you've gone to school, there are things in your life you've done that we can take those skills where you learn to negotiate, you learn to, do some conflict resolution, to communicate, to take into account another person's emotions and feelings, and take those skills from another part of your life and transpose them and apply them to being a stepmom. Now, it's not always a parent, and sometimes, and I've worked with CEOs of companies, dads or stepmoms who were in corporate offices, and I use their business skills and help, from using their business skills, help them to negotiate and be stronger and healthier parents or step parents. So no matter whether you've done that before, like being a parent, or you have no prior experience in being a step parent, there is something in your life you've done before that I can actually help you to use and to motivate you. Again, you have to want to do something, and you have to want to create the kind of life you want, right? So that means, like, for me,
Right.
I want to be healthy. So there's different things I can do. I may not go to the gym, but I do enjoy walking. I enjoy eating healthy. I know I go up and down my stairs. So there's different levels of staying healthy. And if you want to have, as you said, Sharona, like for midlife women who are changing careers, they can definitely take what their past experience, and they have to want to create a better life for themselves, to see the kind of results they are going to get. And sometimes that's where coaching helps, right? We can help them to see
Right.
the possibility in attaining what you want. And so this is where sometimes being motivated, it's not enough to be on your own, and you need someone to help you to be accountable, to show you possibilities, and to show you some of the steps of what you've done in the past and how you can apply it to today. And that's where Sharona and I come in, to help you create what it is you want and to help you stay motivated at the same time.
Right. Because I think one of the things, as we work with our clients, one of the things is we become a personal accountability buddy. We're not there to judge or, condemn you. No, that's not our job. But our job is to bring forth what you already know and the wisdom you have from being on this planet, especially with midlife women. We've been on this planet for a good amount of time. So, it's helping you find your way as you're going through all these big changes in your life. How do I do that? And I know you are, Claudette, but I'm a really good a groupie, a cheerleader. I'm there in the corner, and so are you. But you have, one of the things is, a lot of times when we're feeling fear or the uncertainty of the future, or we're not sure what the heck we're doing now, sometimes we don't think that we have anything to do, and then our motivation starts going, well, why bother? This is not going to work. So, again, finding the support you need, and I think I'm going to, as we start wrapping up, I think one of the things I want to touch back on is being motivated doesn't have to be a big thing. It's like, what steps do I do today? What actions can I do today to help keep me on track and keep me focused on what's next?
Yeah.
What are the actions I do? Because they say if you take five little, between three and 5 little actions every day toward what you need to do, it builds momentum over time.
It does.
So those are some, just some ideas to look at is, so like, for instance, exercising. So here you go, Claudette, you don't want to go to the gym. I don't like going to the gym either. I do everything in my house. But I know that every day I have to build up my biceps. So I have to say, okay, today, how many bicep curls can I do? And then the other question I put forth too is, what's the minimum amount that you can do to feel that you have been successful today?
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe today, because maybe you have a cold or something, maybe 3 biceps is all you can do today, and that's perfectly kosher.
Yeah.
But you took that step in that direction.
Yeah. I use my phone for counting my steps, and so it gets a little addictive. So I did 3,000 yesterday, so let's do 3,050. How about 3,100? So, then that becomes, these telephones, these apps, whatever, your watch, a pedometer, those are the type of things. So those for exercise. And if you were talking about, relationships, what Sharona and I help you with is show you what you've done, because our brains have a tendency to forget our successes, and we only focus on remember what we've not accomplished. So we help you we remind you of what you've actually done, so that helps you to continue moving forward. So what are some of the things that, so if there's a midlife woman, Sharona, who's looking to get that support, that is feeling deflated and needs to have a cheerleader and be motivated, whether it's around her career, her life, her relationship, or just being in midlife, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like, half my life is like down the tubes. What am I gonna do with the rest of my other half of life? How can they reach you?
Thanks, Claudette. So you can reach me at Sharona at okay, hold on, my brain just went it skipped. My brain skipped. Let me rewind. Blah, 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 blah. You can reach me at Sharona at Midlife Women Dancing with Change. My website is www.midlife women dancing with change. You can also find me on social media using the hashtags Midlife Women Dancing with Change, and also Emotional Wisdom. And, I would love to connect with you and see how we can help each other get help each other get you to where you want to go, and create and design the life that is going to support you as you move forward in time, so that you can thrive wholeheartedly in body, mind, and spirit. And so that's how you can get a hold of me. I would love to have a conversation with you. And Claudette, a stepmom, new to being a stepmom, never done it before, feeling totally confused, not sure who to listen to, getting too much feedback from everybody around her. How can you help them, and how can they connect with you?
Thank you, Sharona. So if you're a stepmom, and as Sharona said, like, you're feeling confused, everybody's telling you what to do, and you're like, this isn't working for me, because my life, it's not quite how it's going in our home. I'd love to have a conversation with you, and you can join me. You can email me at claudette@stepmomcoach.com. You can also visit my website, where there's plenty of resources for you, and free downloads where you can go, and it's stepmomcoach.com. I'm on social media, where you can reach me by using the hashtag StepmomCoach or hashtag StepmomWisdom. And there's plenty, like I said, resources for you. So there is a free guidebook. Actually, I have a hard copy of the Words of Hope, Inspiration, and Wisdom for Stepmoms. So you can download this electronic version on my website as well. And that's pretty much it. So we really hope that, you take advantage of what we're offering, Sharona and I, because, a lot of times, we, as women, we feel like, oh no, I'll take care of this. I'll handle it on my own. But, when you're working with someone, you're actually giving yourself that gift of shortening that learning curve. Why do you want to spend 4, 5, 10 years in learning how to be a midlife woman or how to be a stepmom, when we can help you shorten that curve a lot? And so it's a gift that you're giving yourself. At least have that conversation with us. And even if you decide not to work with us, the conversation you have will give you so much insight and so much inspiration that it'll get you moving forward, getting you started and moving towards what you want in life.
Yes, and one of the things is that also, I want to add to that. Again, we have a lot of stuff on our YouTube channel, Conversations That Matter Most. You can also find us online at Conversations That Matter Most. But a lot of times you might think there's no help out there, and there is. I know for midlife women, there's not a lot of resources out there, because but I know that as I have a freebie on there, thriving in the midst of midlife change on my website. Again, it's a freebie. So it just, all you need to do is just have that motivation to say, what do I need now? And how do I take care of me as I move forward and take care of the family and everybody else too, but put myself first. So this is an investment in yourself.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to add those couple thoughts that were percolating in my brain.
Well, we thank you for being here. And again, we'd love to hear your comments. So in the comment box below, comment, tell us what you thought, share with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and let us know what you think. Let us know what else you would love to hear from us. And anything else, Sharona?
Yeah, and as you were talking, I'm thinking, and maybe share with the community what are the strategies or tips that you use to stay motivated, because that might help somebody out there that that might say, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to try that. So yeah.
Great.
Anyway, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and hope to see you next time on Conversations That Matter Most. Bye.
Bye.